Today we have a 1998 Infiniti Q45 stereo in the shop for one of the most common problems, the erratic volume control. We've hooked it up on the bench, and there is actually no movement out of this control at all. Sometimes you see some movement out of it with volume, but it's erratic and may go the opposite way you're turning the control. This is usually a dirty control. There is sometimes an easy repair to this. With the radio in the dash, you can, with finger pressure, remove this knob. There we go. And this will give access to the volume control rheostat here. What we have here is a rheostat with 7 connections. There are 2 wide ones on the side if we're going to replace this control on this one, but we can show how you can clean it first to see if it's just a cleaning or needs replacement. There are 2 ground connections or mounting solder connections on the side. On one side there are 2 pins. This 2 pins deal with the push switch portion of the control, and on the opposite side of the control we have 3 connections. Now these deal with the rheostat. The processor recognizes whether you're turning this control clockwise or counterclockwise to either increase or decrease the volume. And if this control gets dirty, it does not work properly or gets erratic. So first of all, now that the radio is still in the car, you can remove the knob and take your control contact cleaner. You can see here back at the control we had a green base on this, and what we're going to do is try and spray at the top. There are tiny openings in it. Hopefully that'll allow this chemical to seep into the control and clean this up. You can spray at the top of the control. Sometimes I find putting the knob back on a little bit makes it easier to spin the control, and then also it gives you the opportunity to put the side of your finger to the control and move it a little bit faster. This also causes a little bit of friction and heat and can sometimes clean the control up as well. Now, this can take care of some of the problems, not all. In this case, when we tested it, we had to push this volume control way up from the 5 o'clock position, I would say towards the 11 o'clock position, to get any movement out of it, which obviously this is a bad control. So in order to replace the control, we are going to need a number 1 Phillips, a 0 Phillips, and a small flathead screwdriver. We're going to start at the top of the radio. There's 1 screw on the top cover here. This screw secures the top cover. It also goes into the front face, and with these covers removed, we'll be able to remove the front face a little bit easier because they all interlock a little bit. It's very difficult to remove the face, and practically impossible to put the face back on if you do not remove the covers first. So we're going to lift these 2 covers up and set them to the side. I'm going to turn this over. On the bottom we have 1 screw as well. We're going to remove this 1 screw. Now, I'd mentioned this is the volume control problem, so I'm going to give you the part number for the volume control right here. That will allow you to order the part and replace it if the cleaning does not work for you. Now, of course, this isn't going to take care of 100% of the problems that you're going to see with these stereos for the volume control, but in many cases this takes care of about 99% of it. Now we have the top and bottom covers removed, and what we have is 2 little small tabs on one side. We're going to take our small flathead screwdriver and push in a little bit and push on the back of this tab. You can see it push the face off slightly. This one is still locked, so we're going to push this one down and move it forward too. Just a little bit. We don't want to take the face off right now at an angle because there are connectors from the face to the radio. Now we're going to repeat this process for this side. Hopefully the opposite side doesn't click back into place, but this is going to allow us to remove the board. Now what we have here are 2 connectors, one here that mates to this connector, a connector here that mates to this one, so it goes back on. The volume control or bass and treble control circuit board comes out of an opening here, so you have to be careful to pull the face straight off. Now we're going to set the radio apart to the side. We're going to bring over a clean rag here, remove this volume control because the circuit board will not remove without the control off, and we're going to come to the back. We have 3 screws here that secure the bass and treble controls. We're going to move these 3 screws. See our website for other repair videos. Might answer some questions for you. We have removal guides along with do-it-yourself repairs for the vehicle. That will all help when it comes to other problems you might have. Now this should pull back up out. This is a connector here, so these connectors are keyed, even though they put a brown wire and all whites at the other. And when these connectors go back, they only fit one way, so there's no need to mark this as to which way the connector goes. Now we're going to set the bass and treble controls to the side and bring out our 0 Phillips. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, looks like 8 screws here on this face. We're going to remove these screws. They seem to keep disappearing every time I take one out. Okay, they're so small, so keep an eye on these. Again, we have some, I believe, CD player repair for this style radio and tips on repair the CD and so on. You'll have to see our website, follow it through to your year and model car to find these videos. We are adding more do-it-yourself videos. If you have requests, please put those in as well. There's quite a few things we are working on presently. Now I will say we have one more screw here after this one. Now also one of the main problems with this radio was the push buttons. They tend to get all scratchy, lose their surface, or even crack off and break off, and this would help with replacement of those buttons as well. Now we've removed all the screws and we're going to pull this circuit board. Well, actually, we're going to go to the very top up here because the edges of the circuit board go into a little opening on the faceplate to lock it in place along with the screws securing it in place. We're going to start with the top because there's only 2 at the top, and we're going to pry back on the side of the board and the faceplate. That will release the locks, and repeat that along the bottom. Gives us a little bit more play in going along the bottom here. Now this is going to allow us to remove the faceplate. We're going to set the controls ahead. I can see the inside of the display module is discolored, probably needs a good cleaning, along with the surface of the display module here. This will clear up the display. You might not notice it, but it'll help. Now we're back to the control. I had mentioned there were 5 or 7 connections. The little ones we're going to do first. With the right equipment, this seems to unsolder real quickly. So now the tricky part is getting the rest of the control out, because the 2 grounds on the side that secure this mount, there's a lot of solder here. Sometimes you got to wiggle the control in and out several times. Make sure you don't get the solder sucker here to hit your finger, because it is hot. We're going to heat up the other side and hopefully pull that one out, and there we go. There's the bad control. We're going to come back and clean up the openings here on the back of the circuit board. Also, while we're here, there's several other things you can look at. Sometimes there are display problems. Usually if you repair the solder connections at the end of the display, the main ones at the end, these are usually the 2 powers into the display. Check all the others as well. That can cause a no display problem. I also mentioned the 2 connectors that have to mate back up when they go onto the stereo. We have seen, because of vibration and so on, these connections along the sides of these connectors also have poor solder. So we're going to touch all these up, put these all back. Take the next new control. This only goes one way again. There's 2 holes on one, 3 on the other. This will snap back in. The mounting ones usually get soldered first. We try to line this control up so it goes back right into the openings here, and then it snaps back down and locks in with the mounting, with the side mounting connections. We're going to solder this back in, put this back together. Again, clean it all up. Here is the part number for the volume control. If you need bass and treble controls or knobs, that is also another common problem we see. So here's the part number for the knobs. If you have other questions or other problems you want to see solved, see our website again, and also email us. We might have something on file, be able to help you out. Hope this video has been helpful. Please subscribe, and thank you for watching.